Hey there.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Fernando.
How
Uh,
are you, Ashwin? Nice to see you again. Hello to all your viewers.
nice to see you. And we are back with the conclusion video of the series that we are doing on Sect in Vedic Astrology. It's not the actual conclusion, but it's the conclusion as of now. We might get back and rekindle or continue this series because I think we both agree on the point that we have a lot more work to be done in this, and something that appeared to be hypothetical for a long time now appears to be working in practice in some areas, and we are kind of motivated by the fact that it is working. So, yeah, so we have the conclusion, and Fernando is going to just
Yeah,
jump into
I'm
it.
I'm I'm going to share the screen right off. I just want to say to everybody that, as I've said before, in the first video of the series, can you see the screen,
Yeah,
Ashwin?
yes, it's fine.
I just want to tell people that, when I first started this, I wanted to do all Lagnas, but slowly but surely I started going crazy because there seemed to be no harmonious between both techniques. But I chose to do the Yuga Karkas, and even with the 6 Lagnas I chose, I still went a little crazy in terms of, trying to find significance to this experiment. And first of all, as I've said before, there is no perfect Raya Yoga combination for all 3 factors that we experience. So we're going to see that the results are going to be very heterogeneous, but there's some homogeneity in the results as well. So we're going to see where they don't mix, and where they do mix or mesh. So here's the data overall. So if there's a mistake, Ashwin, please tell me.
Don't worry.
I might have committed some typos. So this is just a draft. Afterwards, I'm going to send it to you, and you're going to publish this on Celestial Vibes magazine, the best astrological publication out there right now. So here we see this chart over here. So in the first column, we see the Lagnas of the Yoga Karka, stars Libra, Cancer, Leo, Capricorn, Aquarius, the Yoga Karka for each corresponding Lagna, the Saturn, Mars, and Venus Lagnas, then 11th Lord. Very interesting. Almost in all cases, all cases are different except for Aquarius and Taurus, a different 11th Lord, and the only natural malefic 11th Lord is going to be for Capricorn. As we see, the Saturn Lagnas are very different, as well as the luminaries Lagnas and the Venus Lagnas. The 3 sets have different particularities that differentiate them. I'm sorry. And, this is where we want to concentrate. This is a very important thing. We see here in the 5th column that the sects of the 3 planets that we took into consideration in this study, they never match up. They're all different. And and at the same time, we see that there's particularly no homogeneity. They don't match. The Yoga Karka is always of different sect in all 6 cases. The 11th Lord is always different in most cases. The 11th Lord is different in most cases. I'm sorry, the Lagna Lord is different in most cases. So, D is for day, N is for night, and X is for a sect lord or Mercury, which we didn't take into consideration because of the factors we mentioned before. So you see, there are no homogeneous results. Hence, there is no perfect Raj Yoga, as I just mentioned. So, where are the findings here? Well, we have to see where they mix and where they don't mix, and that's where the other 3 columns come in. First of all, we see here that the Yoga Karka and the 11th Lord sect almost always is going to be the same. So this brings to light the concept of the tug of war that we mentioned. If the Yoga Karka is going to be strong to give greatness, the 11th Lord is going to be strong to give detraction. So that's a principle we can extrapolate from this study, is that the 11th and the Yoga Karka, depending on sect, are going to be equally strong, right? From a sect point of view. And that's going to present the tug of war. So the Jataka is going to be, handed 2 different plates. You either choose this or that. And to further differentiate the qualities of the planet, we have to look at dignity and other factors, and especially rejoicing factors within sect, right? So in principle, we see that happening. So this would represent that we have to look to additional factors to further qualify it. But from a theoretical point of view, we see that they're equally predisposed from this point of view. Now we see the Yogacarca and the Lagna Lord sect, which is very conclusive in the idea that, they're going to be almost always of different sect. And let me go back here. The only cases where the idea of the 11th Lord and the Yogacarca not being part of the same sect can be expressed in the Aquarius Lagna, where Jupiter and Venus are going to be of different sects. And obviously with Mercury and Mars, but Mercury could be of the same sect. It depends. And the other case would be the Libra Lagna, where they're of the same sect, but it's the Sun as sect lord, right? And the next column, we see that in all cases, except in one, we see that the Yogacarca planet and the Lagna Lord are usually of different sects, right? The only two cases that can vary are the Cancer and Leo. Cancer, Moon and Venus are of the same sect, but Moon is a sect lord, so it's yes. And Leo is the only one that is different, right? Sun and Mars are of different sects, so it's no. So what we see here is that at the same time that you're going to have that tug of war, the Lagna Lord, that's very important to qualify Raja Yogas, because even though we can achieve greatness, if the Lagna Lord is in a Arishta or is in bad predisposition, we're not going to fully enjoy that greatness. That's very important. We're going to see that always in sect, the Lagna Lord is going to be of different sect of the Yogacarca. So even though we could achieve greatness, the Lagna Lord predisposition would indicate that we're not necessarily going to enjoy that success fully. We're not going to be satisfied with that, although we might achieve it, but personally we might not like it. And we can see this in famous cases. We can see this with people, falling into depression, although they're millionaires and very rich, people falling into drug addiction, people falling into destructive conducts, conflicts in personality, conflicts in terms of traumas, that sort of thing. So we see that the tug of war is going to be there, and that the Jataka probably is not going to enjoy that greatness. And at the same time, we see that the sect between the Lagna Lord and the 11th Lord is going to vary. It's probably going to be a 50-50 chance. I would say it's more on the yes side, but it's going to be 50-50. This is more polyvalent, right? If the Lagna Lord is definitely not going to have the same sect as the Yogacarca, the Lagna Lord is not going to be well disposed to enjoy that greatness fully. It's probable that the Lagna, is going to be drawn more towards 11th house issues, that will detract from greatness. And this is a principle that's very interesting. Greatness is something that has to do a lot with dharma, and it has to do a lot with action and spirituality and how we bring those two together. And the 11th has to do more with kama, with pleasure, and how we direct our action and our spirituality towards pleasure. And the 11th Lord here through sect, we see that the Jataka might be more inclined towards looking for pleasure, towards orienting his actions and spirituality towards pleasure, than orienting his actions and spirituality towards greatness that will, just come through the action of just doing it. So this is very important. There's a tug of war between the Yogacarca and the 11th. The Lagna is going to be more predisposed not to enjoy that greatness in terms of sect in a full way, and at the same time the Lagna Lord is going to probably be more predisposed to go towards pleasure, towards kama of the 11th. So we see here the recipe of the world, if you really think about it, that it's going to be discussed, and we can see the charts, definitely for a Taurus and for a Capricorn and even for a Libra, it's going to be a no, you know. But, you know, for Cancer, for Leo, the luminaries, and for Aquarius, it's going to be a yes. And, you know, this yes cancels out this idea of that the 11th and the and the Yogacarka are not of different sects. But you know, the idea is that, you know, the Yogacarka is going to be strong, but the the 11th lord is not going to be strong. But at the same time, the Lagna lord is going to go towards what's not that strong, or vice versa, in terms of if it's day or if it's night, which is very interesting. So we don't see a homogeneous pattern, but we see certain secondary patterns that reveal some, I would say, relevant conclusions. So, you know, we're going to be discussing this. From the following chart, we can conclude the following important points. Number one, there are no exact homogeneous results for all 6 lagnas, as we just mentioned. They all differ in some areas. At first glance, we could conclude that both Sect and Yogacarka joint uses give contrary results, but there cannot be any perfect Raja Yogas in relation to Sect. And we've said that before. We've mentioned that in the first video, and, you know, that's something people have to realize. So we did the scientific, exploration to conclude that there can be no perfect Raja Yogas with this. Yeah. And I would conclude that if there cannot be any perfect Raja Yogas through Yogacarkas, it's very probable that there cannot be any perfect Raja Yogas through the other 6 lagnas where we have 2 different planets joining in, right? That would be something to explore further on, but I'm pretty sure if it doesn't work with Yogacarkas, it's probably not going to work with the other ones, which are, you know, a lot of permutations that can go on. You know, we got to see the 1st, the 5th, the 9th lord in relation to the 1, 4, 7, and 10. But, you know, we have to see where it can mesh and where it cannot. But so far with Yogacarkas, they don't match. The second point is that according to Sect, the capability to achieve greatness, Yogacarka planet, will in the majority of the cases be equal in the interruption distracting from greatness, from that same greatness, which would be the 11th lord, the Kama lord, the Trishadaya lord, since both planets tend to belong to the same Sect and hence will be strong to give each of the results. This is what we have referred to as the tug of war, which is what we just mentioned. The pull towards greatness and distraction is going to be equal most of the times. However, the third point, according to Sect, the body Lagna lord will half of the time have greater affinity towards the 11th lord than to the Yogacarka. Type up here.
Yeah.
This will cause a choice on part of the Jataka, either greatness or distraction, right? So they're going to be equal, but the Lagna lord, who is not going to be, you know, he's not going to fully enjoy that greatness, because as we know, greatness represents hard work and sacrifice. And who wants to have hard work and sacrifice? Everybody wants to eat hamburgers and have sex and then eat ice cream. You know, and you know, that's basically Kama. That's basically the 11th lord. That's Atrishadaya. So, you know, that will depend on the free will of the individual, and that's how it is. Another point is that since almost all Lagna lords differ in Sect from the Yogacarka planets, we also see the greatness is difficult to enjoy fully according to Sect and Raja Yoga principles. Great success is, in addition of being rare, rarely fully enjoyed. And haven't we seen that with great men? You know, all throughout history, we've seen great men that have sacrificed, that have suffered for greatness. You know, Bill Gates didn't become a millionaire just because he sat in his house. He worked hard. Steve Jobs didn't become a millionaire just by sitting in his house watching TV. You know, and at the same time, a lot of people have spoken evils of these people, but they've achieved greatness. You know, you achieve greatness at a big cost. And that's why I believe the Lagna lord and the Yogacarka are not of the same Sect. You know, you're never going to have that full cake. There's always going to be something there. And, you know, I think we could say the same of other famous personalities in India. You know, I can think about Nehru. You know, Nehru achieved greatness in being the president of India. But a lot of people spoke very badly of him. And he, you know, got to the top.
Minister.
Prime Minister, I'm sorry. Did I say president? I'm sorry. I said president, yeah, prime minister. He got to the top, but he got through there, doing some things that probably weren't, the best. He kind of sidelined it, Subhash Chandra Bose, which was another important figure in the independence movement that didn't quite, figure it out. Also, the idea with partition. See, greatness is not something that is easily achieved. It is not something that is purely enjoyable. It's something that brings great responsibility. And as the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, responsibility, I think it's the right word.
Yeah. And then we see the next point that says, taking the time factors into consideration, general positive astrological qualifier, as well as the tug of war principle. We're taking here, dashes, sign dashes, general positive astrological qualifiers, dignity, triplicity, lord placements, all the bounds, decans, all the things that make up a good and juicy or bad and evil. We got to see that. And also we got to see the tug of war principle that we just mentioned between the Yogacarca and the 11th Lord. Greatness is a choice if both factors for greatness, Yogacarca, and detractions are equal according to the Sect Raja Yoga principles, which is something we've mentioned. It's a choice. One either chooses greatness or distraction or detraction. Detraction will be more pleasurable, greatness more sacrificing, which is what we've just mentioned. And, the final 2 points, this explains in a way why there are so few Rajas, kings, right, in our world, and why it can be lonely or difficult in the top. And, finally, and this is a very important thing that I mentioned, Sect worked as snapshot technique for best benefic in a chart and worst malefic in a chart, which is something we know, right? And we try to apply this to Yogacarca. But what I found doing this is that we can apply this to other techniques in a very snapshot way and in a very efficient way. We can adapt that to Sadesati. I believe that if you are born during the night, with Saturn probably above the horizon in the night sky, Sadesati is going to be more difficult than otherwise. We can add that to Saturn return. I believe that a Saturn return with the same predispositions I just mentioned of Saturn being above the horizon during the night is probably going to be a more difficult Saturn return than otherwise.
Sun being above the horizon.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What I meant is that Saturn being in the night, a night birth,
yeah,
with Saturn being above the horizon during the night, because that would be another predisposition of rejoicing factor for Saturn being worse. Correct?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry. Did was that understood, or did I say it in another way?
No, I just wanted to make sure, like, what you are saying. So I just wanted.
I'm sorry. I just meant night birth.
Okay.
Because because it's another rejoicing factor. If it's a night birth, right? And Saturn is above the horizon, Saturn is worse than being below the horizon. Correct. Right? And we're not taking into consideration dignity. So, if it's in Capricorn or Aquarius, that's another, or Libra, that's another $20. We're not going to get into it. But in principle, night birth, Sadesati is going to be more difficult. Saturn return is going to be more difficult. And for Kuya Dosha, a day birth Mars is probably going to be more difficult if Mars falls under the Kuya Dosha specifications, right? And there's a lot of discussion about Kuya Dosha, but basically that's the 12th, the 1st, the 2nd, the 4th, the 7th, or the 8th house. You would be a Manglic person, a Mangala Dosha or Kuya Dosha, Kush Dosha, Kush Dosh, Kuya Dosha, Mangal Dosh, Mangala Dosha, whatever you want to call it, and you can also be qualified through snapshot techniques of Sect. Example, day Mars worse, night Saturn worse. So yeah, I mean, these are my conclusions. I hope people liked it. I think there's a future in those snapshot techniques I mentioned, but in terms of the Yogacarca and Sect technique, there are a lot of factors to take into consideration. And with this overall exploration, we've seen those things. Number one, the tug of war principle, the 11th and the Yogacarca are going to be equally predisposed. And also we see the differentiation between the Lagna Lord and the Yogacarca, between sect, even though greatness will be achieved in terms of sect, the person will not necessarily enjoy it. And then we have like that the majority of the times, or half of the times, the person is going to be more disposed towards Kama 11th Trichadaya Lord than otherwise. And so, you see that the person, according to Sect, is going to be drawn more towards detraction and Kama than towards the greatness, because he's going to have a more pleasurable time. And in a way, we see this without Sect in Vedic astrology. So once again, we see that we've taken a Hellenistic principle and compared to a Vedic principle, and they in a way mesh. It's not crazy to mix them up. There's some things that concur, specifically with the yoga, with the Raj Yoga principles, right? The idea of pleasure, the 11th, the Trishadaya, how it's very difficult to achieve Raj Yoga, and we see that on charts. A pure Raja Yoga is very difficult. At the same time, a pure Raja Yoga with Yogacarca in terms of Sect is very difficult. So we see that the techniques combine, they mesh in some places, they don't mesh in other places, but at the end, it's a traditional school of thought. It is very probable that Jyotish was very influenced by Hellenistic astrology, and that, we call it Hellenistic astrology and Jyotish, but probably 2,000 years ago, it was the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But 2,000 years later, Hellenistic astrology probably survived in the Jyotish context, mixed with Vedic culture, and Hellenistic astrology is being rediscovered in a philosophical void. That's very important. We're developing techniques, we're discovering new things, we're translating, but it is being done in a philosophical void. We're not being Stoicism. We're not exploring Neoplatonism. We're not exploring Hermeticism. We're not the type. We're walking the walk, but we're not necessarily. Well, I'm sorry. We're talking the talk, but we're not necessarily walking the walk of Hellenistic astrology. So each side has its pros and its cons. Probably Hellenistic astrology is bringing up the technical stuff with some philosophical aspects. But at the same time, in the Jyotish front, we have a very strong philosophical, spiritual front that can, combine both. And at the end, as I've said before in other interviews, we are the pioneers. We are rediscovering a truly global traditional astrology. And, this is my little contribution to it. I'm doing other little contributions, but in the end, I hope that people who have seen this little investigation I did, that they take it further and that inspires them to, further read more Hellenistic texts, further read more Sanskrit texts, and, reconnect with that tradition, with that spirituality that astrology pervades, that astrology gives forth. Astrology is a gateway to reconnect with that spirituality that the Western man has lost. And we are rebuilding that ancient tradition. And, I'm very glad I'm doing it with you, my friend. And that's more or less what I have to say. So thanks.
Yeah, I think you pretty much gave both astrological and also a philosophical conclusion. I think philosophical conclusion was also very much necessary. And I'm very happy that millennials are kind of open today in terms of exploring the various fields or various forms of astrology, especially people like you and me got exposed to the ancient forms of astrology like Vedic astrology. And Vedic astrology is fine, it has been existing for a long time, but the Hellenistic astrology, I think the millennials, we are kind of happy to inculcate the techniques of the rediscovered Hellenistic tradition in our astrology, and we are trying to bring as a unified or a universal form of astrology and kind of eradicating the actual terms like Eastern or Western astrology, because I think astrology was universal before 2000 years or even beyond. So yeah, I think that's what we are headed. No matter what we are doing, but still we are headed in terms of unifying astrology as a global phenomenon and not a particular demographic specification.
From a traditional point of view, which
For sure.
is where you know, destiny and the wheel of time and God and you know, other forces play an important role in addition to the psychological factors.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much, as I said, it's a temporary end to the series, and it's not the end of my.
Yeah, we're gonna do other things afterwards.
Yeah,
and
it's the association with Fernando Raul is going to continue, and if you want to get in touch with Fernando, or if you want to get in touch with Fernando's work, you can visit fernandorollastrology.com, and he also has a YouTube channel going, which is rich in terms of content, at least in English, because I can understand what he says, and I really like the beginning of all the Spanish videos where Fernando says "Hola, hola."
That's true. That's true. You know, you gotta have your phrase. But yeah, hola, hola.
So,
Yeah,
I really like the.
Thank you.
Spanish.
I kind of do that in English also, but it doesn't sound the same way.
Yeah, so it's very nice. So I just hope that YouTube kind of gets the subtitles going for the
Well,
videos.
you know, eventually YouTube is gonna, you know, the thing is that creating subtitles consumes a lot of time, but I'm pretty sure eventually, you know, we're recording this in 2019. I'm pretty sure that in less than 5 or 6 years, there's gonna be some type of algorithm that's gonna translate everything into every language, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time, and you know, things happen when they have to happen, and I'm doing more English videos, but I'm doing more Spanish videos because there's not a lot of content in Spanish, and you know, there are a lot of Spanish speakers that want a lot of information. But yeah, I'm slowly doing English videos, and that's why I'm doing these videos with you and other people, because you know, the international community communicates in English. So yeah.
And let's not forget other works that you're doing. You're in touch with Vanita Lenka on VL Astrology, and you're doing a tarot series with our good friend Lars Panaro, and I'm sure you are also in touch with other astrologers and collaborators as well. So good luck.
Thank you, Ashwin.
And we'll meet.
God bless you, and we'll meet again.
Yeah, we'll see soon in another series.
Take care.
Thanks.